Okay, very quickly showing you there, because I lost a little bit of footage at the very beginning of this. I'm using my Distress watercolor pencils, and what I showed you is, if you can see on the left hand side of me there, these are the little plastic cases that I bought ages ago that I use for various different things. And what I've done is I've actually sharpened the watercolor pencils to get shavings, and I've put them into these little containers basically as a holding spot for me. And I'm just adding some water to it and creating, to say these things have pigment like no other, that is doing a grave injustice to them. These things are amazing. I love them, and I wish I could use them on every single layout, but you guys would get very bored with that, so I won't be doing that. Now, the photos that I'm scrapping are actually of my kids swimming in my brother's pool over Christmas. So they thought it was a right fat old party, and they were enjoying themselves, so I decided to take some photos. Now, what I'm actually trying to do here, and I know I don't normally edit my videos. I don't. And I'm not changing that at all. That is staying the same. But this add the but, I was not feeling very well when I started doing this yesterday. And I felt like when I went back to the footage, I went, how on earth did it take me an hour and a half to do these waves? Now, because of that, I actually went back and watched it. And to say it's like watching paint dry, this is what I did for an hour and a half. I literally went into my craft room, and I did this, and I just enjoyed layering up the colors and just getting messy, and that's what I did, and I absolutely loved it. But I will save you the fact that I was doing that purely for my own selfish reasons, just to chill out and play. And I was recording it because obviously I thought it'll make a good video if I can get this to work, so I recorded it. So I do chop a little bit of this particular process. I've left enough of it in that you can definitely see what I'm doing and how I've done it. But I did take a little bit out because it was getting a bit crazy. So I'm using several different blue shades. You can see in the container off to my left, I've shaved the pencils from Salty Ocean, Prize Ribbon, Faded Jeans, and Tumbled Glass. Now, there is a little bit of peacock feathers in there as well. You can see that sitting there. I didn't dip into it because I felt I was able to get what I was looking for just with the blues. Now, am I entirely happy with the fact that I've cut the papers? I've cut the waves. There was no template. It's just grab a piece of cardstock and cut waves in it. You know, scallops, half scallops, scallops that have a smooth top to them, that sort of thing. Now, this is the same way that I created. If you've been here for a long time, if you haven't been here for a long time, hi, welcome. Please like, subscribe, hit the like button, share my page around. This is my channel around. This is something that, you know, I love scrapping. I was just feeling very off over the weekend and I wanted to just play. So this is what I did. And I just grabbed my makeup sponge. These are just the cheap ones from Kmart. I think it's like $2 or $3 for a packet of them. And I don't stress about it. I don't clean them up. Once I've used them, I ditch them. Or what I do, and I did do that with this one, I just cut the end off it and then it's fresh again. So that way I'm not accidentally transferring blue to something that I might have yellow on or something like that. Now, this is just about where I cut it, just to show you that I'm adding the waves, I'm adding the little bits, and I'm trying to get blue coverage all over the back. I sort of, at this point, I was kind of happy with it. I was, for a flat layout, okay, for a flat two-dimensional layout, you sort of go, okay, that'll do. No. So I got up this morning. This is where I took off from this morning. So that's where I edited a great big piece, because I'll be honest with you, it wasn't working for me. I needed it to have a bit more dimension to it. And when I say dimension, I don't necessarily mean, foam lifted up or anything like that. I wanted to use mixed media to create the look. And I just had to, this morning, it's Monday night at the moment. It's 8 o'clock Monday night that I'm doing this voiceover. But Monday morning, I had a clear mind. I was feeling a lot better, and it started to come together a bit more for me. So I wanted to create these kind of waves, and that's when it dawns on me that in a pool, rewind. So what I'm actually using there is I'm using the MARTE gel medium, what do we call it? What's it called? I have it written down here somewhere. Gel medium, and it's in the gloss finish. Okay, so this stuff you can use it for glue. You can use it as a texture paste. You can use it, the list goes on. You can use this in so many different ways. Something I did notice was the watercolor pencils. They dissolve into this gel medium beautifully. As I kind of, well, the reason I went with this one as opposed to the Ranger transparent one, or whichever other one I have, that I usually sort of go towards, the reason I went with this is because I wanted it to be shiny. I'm trying to create a wet look. That's what I'm trying to do. And this medium, it allows you to do that. So there is so many of these different mediums out there. This particular one, why did I have it in my stash? Because I have it purely and simply because it's cheap, it's affordable, and it does double duty. I can use it as a glue. I can use it as a top coat. I can use it for texture. For me, when I buy a product, especially if I'm going to come on here and I'm going to tell you guys to spend your hard-earned money on it, it's got to do double duty. Now, speaking of double duty, this one, I picked up the wrong watercolor pencil. I thought I picked up, what was the color? I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it was, I ended up using Vintage Photo, but I actually wanted the slightly lighter one in the pencils. It looks, so what I'm actually creating here, and when you see it at the end, it worked. It did work. But the thing you have to remember with these watercolor pencils is if you're mixing them into a medium, what I'm using here is the little tiny tub of distressed texture paste, and it's already colored, and the color it's called is Grave, Grave. So I knew once I opened that Grave that the likelihood of me using that at any point in its natural color that it came in, I probably will never use it. So I thought to myself, I know what I'll do. I'll just mix some watercolor pencils in there and change the color of it, and that'll work a treat. It was probably about now that I realized this is way darker than my brother's. What I'm trying to simulate is the stone edging around my brother's pool, because it's in some of the photos, and I thought, oh, that'd be really cool. I could make a pool, literally make a pool and put my kids in the middle of it. That'd be awesome. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, it's way too dark. Vintage, okay, one, I could have used a lot less pigment, and maybe it would have been a little bit more of a sandy look, but I like how the texture paste is working. I liked initially when I put it down, as you can see the top bit there, see how it's a bit lighter than how it's drying at the bottom. So that's okay. Don't stress. It's all good. We'll do something with this. At this point, I'm pretty okay with it. Then what I decided to do, right after I said to you, I'll never use grave by itself, right? I thought, you know what? I think the difference is when you look at the stone edging, it's kind of, there's a slightly darker colour and then a slightly lighter colour. So when I went around with the grave on its own, thinking, well, as it dries, the thinner bits will show more of the brown through, and it worked a treat. Totally worked. Totally worked. The one thing I will say is these little mini pots, they are a little bit drier than the big pot of texture paste that I've got. It's just a consistency thing, just something I noticed. So I had no real big issue with it. Again, my rule, if you've used texture paste, anything you've used it on, clean it immediately, because it will set like a rock and you'll never get it off. So this video is coming along and it's nearly done. So I will let you know that I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I don't know why it's taking so long for me to come back on screen. There I am. Okay. I'm back. Look at that. Woo woo. Okay. So these are my photos and this is how I had them set out. This is what I was going to do. So this is something I want you to know and something that I want you to understand. Whenever you're using mixed media, see how you're looking at it like that. You sort of go, oh, that doesn't really, I'm not sure if that works, Karen. You're covering up a lot of it with your photos or your ephemera. You know, that sort of thing, you have to realize that you do cover up some. So the other thing I had a real issue with, now my art glitter glue will glue absolutely anything, right? It usually tacks up pretty quick, but because of this gloss medium, gel medium, it for the life of me, I could not get these photos to just grab onto it. So it did take a little bit. I do have water bottles sitting on top of my photos. Don't have a conniption. It's perfectly fine. But it's at this point that I realize, hang on, those photos are a bit crooked. I know they're in a pool, but you know, they're not quite right. Now this is where I started sort of tinkering with different ideas. I didn't want to just go straight to my Cricut and cut a title. I thought, no, I'm going to have a little bit of a flick through my stickers, because it was International Sticker Day the other day and I didn't actually use many stickers on Sticker Day, so I figured, she'll be right. I'll do it. I'll do it today. I'll use it today. She'll be right. It's all good. Now I'm pulling out these are old Creative Memories stickers, and they are, I'm trying to find things that I would normally not use on a different sort of layout. I'm trying to find something different, and I don't know what I imagined was going to jump out of these containers at me, but it's okay. It's all good. We got there in the end. Now, that strip that I've got sitting close is actually, it has smile, smile, smile on it. Now, it was at, I think I've already fixed it. Maybe I've already fixed it. Now, the smile, I'm actually putting these on the photos. So this is where my kids are just looking up at me and smiling and loving every minute of this. So I did that. Now, I put the smiles down, and then I saw the vacation, because they're on school vacation. So I thought, oh, I'll put that down the bottom, sort of like as a pluck. Now, I stuck it down there. Don't worry. Don't stress. I literally, that's how I clean my tweezers, by the way. I use an emery board. It's an old one, and see what I mean? They weren't gluing down. They were sort of, they gave me a little bit of time, and I don't normally get wiggle room when it comes to art glitter glue. There is no wiggle room whatsoever. Now, don't worry if that vacation at the bottom is bothering you. Don't sweat the small stuff, mate, because I realise it very shortly, and I'm looking at it going, what was I thinking? Why did I think that would look good? Why did I leave that there? So that's when I pulled out these. These are thickers. They are called Patio Party, and I love these stickers. I love the font, but they're never in the colour I want them in. They're in like a really brown, mission brown colour. So I just pull out my Kmart. These are just Kmart, what are they called? Dual tip alcohol markers. And I just colour in over the top of it. And it's perfect. It stays on there. Gives me good even coverage, and I love it. It covers the brown lines, and it allows me to use something that I normally wouldn't use. And give yourself grace. If you've bought something because you've gone, oh, it's $2, chuck it in. I might use it one day. Do something like this with it. Pull out your alcohol inks. You could go over this. I haven't tried it with the Distress Oxides, but I believe it might work. Maybe scuff up a little bit on the top and then it would work pretty well. But the alcohol markers, these things are only, they're not very expensive. I won't quote how much they are, but the ones from Kmart, they're quite juicy, and they've got a lot of color in them, if that makes sense. And yeah, I really liked them, and they turned out really good. So now I'm popping down my title, and because my title is dark blue, it just blends in up there beautifully. And this is where I'm using my art glitter glue. Will help it adhere really well. And that's when I realized, okay, I have to say it like this so you realize why I've done it like this. Hello, time to party. That's what I'm trying, you know, that's what my kids would say. So that's why I called it hello, time to party. Probably should have put a comma in there, but there's no room for it, so that's okay. So now I know those thickers are, they're the Happy Life thickers, the Paige Evans ones. I know they're blue, but I just went over it with the alcohol marker just so it's all the same blue. And it works a treat. Not a problem at all. So I'm getting very, very close now. I do, and see, I told you I'd rip it off. There's no way in the world that it's not going to stay there. I don't know why I'm even trying to put it on there. Nah, stick it back. That is just not the way I scrap anymore, so I can't do it. Now, I pulled out my KAISERCRAFT dewdrops. I got mine quite a while ago, and they come in 3 different sizes. I have mine separated because, you know, my Aspie daughter decided one day that she would separate them for me, and I was more than happy for her to do that. So these are just water droplets basically, and it just adds a little bit more shine and shimmer, and it helps you realize that it is actually water underneath them as well, and they're splashing and whatnot. So I am going to finish up now, and I'm pretty much done. As you can see, the stone around the outside edge works a treat having the, I'm sorry, my dog's going to bark right now. It does. It's the way it finished off, it was perfect. The grave colour, never thought I would ever use that on a layout because that's just not my jam. But I have 2 dogs outside, 2 dogs inside, and you think they're going to bark for me now? Right when I need to do voiceovers? Unbelievable. Well, here it is, up close and personal, so you can see all the mistakes and everything. Actually, I didn't make too many mistakes. I did, realistically, around the outside edge. See how you can see the pool edging? That's what I'm trying to sort of create on the edge. So that's what I'm trying to do there. I think it worked in the end. Let me know below. Do you think it worked, or do you think I need to work on my stonemasonry skills? Anyway, if you are not subscribed, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Also, I have my other social links down below if you want to see some still photos of this that you may want to take some ideas from. They'll be over on Instagram and on Facebook, and you can, the links are in my description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you soon, guys. Bye for now.